Fixed it. Okay. Hello, everybody. It is March 2nd, and we are making up our Sunday night call from February 25th or something like that, or 6th. Okay. Thank you. I was like, I knew it was a Sunday. I knew it was 20-something. Obviously, there's only 28 days. Kayla Troutman. This is our Growing with Wildtree leadership call. I will be recording it, and then I'll upload it to our YouTube channel. If you're watching my eyes, I should have said this in the past calls too. I look forward because I can see all of you big on my computer screen, but my phone is actually what records us. So it's recording me from a lower standpoint, but I'm looking up because then your pictures are bigger and I can see your lips moving. So I can read lips if I have to, and I just can see your personal reactions to things I say then. The phone is too small. So I use a TV, an old TV. Well, it's not, it's like really big. That's my computer screen. So anyway, long story short, you look big actually on my screen. We are chatting tonight so that I can give you guys a couple of days to brainstorm with yourself and kind of, I guess I'll say, analyze where you're at so far in your business. Some of you on this call are new to Wildtree. All of you actually are new as of fall of last year. So nobody in this particular leadership group going for leadership is, I would say, like older than that. Those that were older than that, I will say, kind of hit leader numbers that wanted to. Again, not everybody comes to Wildtree and wants to be in a growing mode, right? You guys understand that. Hey, Vicki. So you guys are kind of the fall and on group that's joined, and this is like the next leadership group. Everything I say tonight, you take and apply to your life. You stew on for the next few days, and then you message me one-on-one or comment in the group. But it's got to be a decision for you that's right for you. Just know that there's always opportunities for leadership, and you're not being kicked out of the group. I just want to make sure that was very clear. But at this point, I am going to ask you on this call to kind of commit to the process. So you've got to feel for it. You know what it takes. I wouldn't be a good leader, and I have figured this out. Poor Jessica Schultz on our team. She's a leader. You can talk to her about the way that I coached leaders 2 years ago and the way that I coach leaders now. I loved a whole lot and didn't serve well, right? Because that only gets you so far, and it doesn't give you the skills or the tools to get through the hard times, because I hadn't really run into my own really hard times yet. Now I'm much smarter, and I drink beer before I do a, can you see this? Okay, yeah, you can. Before I do a conference call. Thank you, you're all smiling. This is how I cope with a toddler. No, I'm just kidding. He actually was really good. This is how I cope with my husband's days off. That's actually why I'm drinking. And actually, I'm just celebrating. There, you're all laughing. Okay, good. He's great. He's great. He's with Macaulay now. He's not in bed yet, but so anyway, I want to make sure I serve you, and I don't put you in a similar boat that I've put past leaders in, as far as making it sound like it was going to be super doable without really any amount of work or consistency. That's just not the truth. You guys all have had jobs or have jobs now where there's something required of you, right? Everybody can shake their head yes. In fact, I'm sure that's why Katrina's not on tonight. She's working at her job, and she can only get on if the patients and the clientele don't need her, right? So something is required of her to stay employed by that company. And if she doesn't do it, she isn't going to get a paycheck, or she's obviously going to get fired. So why I say that is there's a reality to what it takes to be a Wildtree leader. Actually, there's just a reality to being good at anything in life. And that is, again, good attitude, doing the necessary steps, and really just envisioning what you want it to be and then doing the work. So I talked to my husband before this call. I said, okay, so last time I did this in the fall, I laid it out this way. The group was really responsive to it. And honestly, every single one of them, except for one, chose to continue on. But that doesn't make that group bad or good or anything. I'm just sharing that, like, I laid it out pretty similar. And you guys, if you don't know this, Sam Brycer on our team, she came from that group. She promoted December 31st. Crystal, and I say her name wrong every time. I say Huizinga, but that's not exactly how you pronounce it. Don't tell her. She knows I say it wrong. She promoted in that group. We had another promote in that group, and I'll share about that in a second. Angela promoted in that group. And then there was another opportunity for somebody to promote, and they chose to not put in sales that month, so they wouldn't automatically promote. And I'll walk you through this in a second, because they didn't want to take a false promotion, and they knew going into it that they would never maintain leader numbers. So one of their team members, just walk through this with me, Dana had recruited Sam, and Sam was hitting team leader numbers, and that naturally promotes the person above them as long as they're doing 350. Does that make sense? Like they put in 350 and they've got all these people underneath them working obviously on Sam's team, but until she's a leader, that still counted as Dana's team volume. And Dana chose in the month of December to not put, she put in like $333 or something. So she purposely would not promote and take that from Sam, which I thought was really honorable. And absolutely she could have, that's Wildtree's policy. She earned it just like anybody else. But she knew that then in January, when Sam's numbers wouldn't count anymore, Dana wouldn't have that working team and she wouldn't maintain it. So Dana's a part-time rep on our team and she chose not to. Why I share that with you is this same group that we didn't do Zoom, we did conference calls. And now that I know about this cool Zoom thing and I know how to record the recordings and like post them, way cooler. But we walked through the same thing. You know, what is it going to take? We started in October and these ladies hit November and December. And pretty easily, I would say there were some challenges. They actually, guys, hit in the hardest month of the year to hit leader numbers. December is the hardest month. But of course, I didn't tell them till it was like December 15th. So I waited to make sure that they were full-fledged in. They hit November without a problem. And December is a little tricky because you basically don't do any parties after like the 15th of the month, unless you can find a hostess that'll do like between Christmas and New Year's or a workplace, you know, Christmas party. You can get creative. You guys understand this. This is what you put into it, right? But typically, I'll be honest, my calendar after about the 10th of the month is nothing until the first week of January. That's just how I like it for my family. And they still hit. So why tell you this? Same thing, right at the beginning of November, I told them all, here's what I suggest. Give this some thought for the next few days and let me know if you think you can make this happen. Okay. Now, again, Nate told me to make sure I say to you guys, anything is possible. In the case that I was just sharing with you with Dana, what I'm going to say to you and say, this is what it takes to promote to team leader didn't actually apply to Dana in that promotion, right? Because she literally had a working team of people and all she would have had to do was 350. So everything I say is only applicable if you are looking to stay a leader long-term. You can become a leader very quickly. It's sell what I sell in personal sales and just have 2 part-time reps put in one thing a month. Literally, like, I don't want to sound so blunt, but like I'm carrying my team volume myself by choice, right? Because I have a customer base built up. I choose to do 6 to 8 parties and I make 40%. So obviously to pay my mortgage, I'm best off leaving that in my own hands, my own control. But most of my full-time working leaders don't do more than 1,000 or 2,000 personal sales. Okay, that's about the norm. And that's always what I did before I quit my job. So why do I say that to you? Sarah is on the call, or she's at least on here, and she'll listen to this back if she has to hang up. It's her birthday, by the way. So happy birthday, Sarah. I'm going to just use you as an example, Sarah, because you are number 3 in personal sales this month. And I just have it fresh on my head. So Sarah sold enough that she was number 3 in personal sales, well over $2,000, earned the apron. But on top of that, Sarah actually had a large party that she entered the 1st of March. So she'd hit business bucks for this month and have a shot, if it happens for her, to hit team leader numbers. So let's just hypothetically say she would have put in that order. She'd have almost had her whole team leader volume in one shot. So if Sarah continues to sell and she finds consistency like that, literally, Sarah, you might be an exception to the rule, but I'm going to tell you on this call tonight, I would recommend you guys booking 4 to 6 parties. If leadership is your true goal for the next 2 months until you meet enough people, you have to try for that. They can be Facebook, tasting, workshop. I know Jenny's looking at me, and Jenny likes tastings. They're going very well for her. She's darn good at doing tastings and selling a lot of products, which is awesome. So kudos to you. And you also have fabulous personal sales. And so she might be listening to me going, oh, I think I could do those in tastings. I think that I could sell that amount. And so maybe Jenny's going to think over the next couple of days, can I add the recruits that Kayla's going to suggest? Jacqueline's brand new. She's literally just taking her business off this month. She might hear these numbers and think like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to do that. Bear with me, because again, the rule's not a straight up rule, but I just don't want to paint the picture that if you really want to be here consistently, I asked Nate tonight, I said, again, when I worked full time, how many times do you think I left the house a month? So here's the bad part about me. I don't have good systems, right? So I didn't keep a spreadsheet from the first day I started Wildtree of how many parties I did a month. I wish I would have. I can go back and look at my mileage because I kept my tax stuff, and it pretty much shows me. And I believe I always was doing 4-ish events. If I left the house more than that, it was usually a team meeting or launch. I like to launch my reps. I just think Especially if you've never been to a party or you've been to only one event of mine, or Vicky, I'm going to use you as an example. You are really nervous. This is a really far stretch for you. I really believe that if I don't help, I'm going to say an introvert, and I'm not saying that's you, but if I don't help the opposite of me be successful, sometimes they get scared before they ever start, right? So know that that is also not something you have to do. This is just how I've chose to run my business, and my reps seem to like it. But also know that I had reps lunch this last weekend when I was up north, and they did just fine too. So I think it's what they choose. If you want me there, I come, and if not. So picture 4 personal events a month, and then an event or 2, like a team meeting that I commuted to, a launch party that I did, etc. So did some months I do more than that? I'm sure I did. But other months, did I do less than that? Yeah, there were a lot of months when my husband and I were having a really hard time in our marriage, October to February, that I'm sure I only left the house in that period of time 1 to 2 times a month. But if you're good at what you do and you're sharing the business opportunity and you're still working it, right? Reorders, follow-up, etc., I was able to have consistency. So again, I'm painting a picture. The reality is, if you want it to be easy and not have to stress about numbers on the 30th, 28th, 31st, and be up till 2 in the morning with me. Because yes, when you go for numbers, once you're a leader, I'm up every month end. That's why you get the newsletter at the crack of dawn. I love doing that. I don't mind it at all. It's like my favorite night of the month is month end. But I do like it when you have your numbers like 5 days before the end of the month too. That's really awesome. So regardless, I'm just telling you, I want you to sit and think about that. Okay, so that part of it, personal sales. My best advice to you as far as just a number, when you carry $2,000 of your team volume, you're a strong leader. I mean, if you carry a little less than that, or if you carry more than that, that's awesome. But 2,000-ish earns you the trip. So if you just get in that mentality, you're going to earn a free vacation, and you're carrying the bulk. And I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but I'm going to say it again, and I'll say it many more times in your Wildtree career. The leader sets the pace, period. If you are joyful and you like what you do and you try hard, your team will do that too. If you do parties, they'll do parties. And if you only do Facebook parties, they're only going to do Facebook parties. Like, I don't know why it is, but it's so true. The leader sets the pace, right? And so you don't have to work at my level. Like, I've got high goals, and I'm going to make sure I say that. I was a team leader from the beginning of my business. If you've never read my full story, I typed it all out and shared it at 8 o'clock tonight because I'm coming up on my 3-year anniversary. I didn't kill myself ever doing this. I work now way too much because I love what I do. But I take time off too. Today I watched Netflix all afternoon, and we wwent swimming tonight. We ordered a pizza, like, don't tell anybody. And it was awesome because Joe's Fox Hunt is like my favorite, which is why I'm drinking beer, because pizza and beer go together. Yeah, you're all saying yes. Plus I bought a hippo. Did everybody see the hippo today? Yeah. That is fun stuff. I finally found him at Target. I've been watching for months because he's a bee toy. You can't get him anywhere else. Okay, you get the point. That's what Wildtree does for me. So I choose to make it important, because if I didn't have this income, I probably would have to work a part-time job somewhere else, just due to where we live, our financial situation when I quit my job, etc. But even with that income, we wouldn't be able to just walk into Target today. I actually met Sam, team leader Sam. We took our kids to Target for a play date in the toy aisle so we could talk business. True story. She bought me a coffee so I would meet her so we could talk about her team. And we bought hippos and little kitties and carriers. And I mean, it's fun because we don't do that all the time, obviously, but it's something that I can do because of Wildtree. So as I say that, notice that I've always had a why, right? Originally, it was just, I'm going to do this for a discount. Oh, but it's paying for CrossFit. Like, how smart. CrossFit's a couple $100. I'm going to get that from Wildtree. And then it just became like, for me, maybe it's an addiction in a negative way, but I just always wanted to pay for CrossFit. I always wanted to buy groceries then on top of CrossFit. Okay, then we're going to start putting $1,000 away on top of the CrossFit and the groceries to buy this house that I live in now that really, truly is my dream home. So you get it, right? Vision. I just did the work, and it always just worked out. My customers tell me constantly, and most of you were a customer first, so you can add your own opinion or chime in at any point. My customers tell me constantly that I'm just different than the average direct sales rep. And I don't know if that's the way that I would put it. I guess I would just say I care about the impression I leave. Not because I care what they think of me. At this point in this career, I'm like, sometimes I say the dumbest things at a party, and I drive home, I'm like, yeah, they're thinking I'm an idiot. But most of the time, I just want them to think she actually cares. She truly believes in the product, And I want them to know that like I stand behind what Wildtree is about, which is the all natural stuff. Oh my gosh. I just read about that lip sense stuff today that stains your lips for like 24 hours. If you use it, I'm not judging, but I read there's like 28 chemicals in it to make it stain your lips for the 24 hours. And Wildtree is losing a lot of reps to this company. And so it's interesting to me because even if my Wildtree business fell apart, I could never sell that. Like it is, and I love lipstick. So that's why I was looking at it. I mean, I love lipstick. So I'm excited that Labrai has a bunch of colors that I'm pretty in love with and it's all natural. Because seriously, like how can you be so passionate about what I am, but then turn around and like, if this failed, sell that, right? So like what I'm trying to say is this matters to me at my very core. Even if I ended up being a complete failure at this, I would have wanted to use the products. So back to my original vision, it's still there. And if you can figure that out over the next few days and commit to like, Jacqueline, I'm going to use you as an example because I just know part of your why is financial.
Yeah.
If you can really pinpoint that dollar amount that would make significant impact in a year or in a month and set that up. And also too, you could message me. And if you're willing to share it with Jenny, it would be helpful too, because obviously she's a big cheerleader for you. But literally for me in the beginning, it was having 300 and then 500 and then 1,000 and then $2,000. Like that 1,800 was actually the next one, which was dumb. I should have just jumped to $2,000, but 1,800 like matters. And even now, sometimes like earlier this month, I was watching my stuff and I'm like, oh, I'm behind this month. So for me, having that as a way to track is key. And just because I know you have a financial goal, that might be beneficial to you. And I can help you break it down backwards then. Okay, so per party on average, this is what I'm going to make. I need to do this in the beginning until I grow a team and I'm making the money faster, obviously. Vicki, yours, I think, and I'm putting words in your mouth, but I just want to give you some ideas. For me right now, I feel like actually where your like excitement, success is felt, I think, is the fact that you're reaching outside of your comfort zone and you're doing this and you're helping people more than maybe a specific financial goal. Cause I don't know that that was a need. So something, if that's true, again, putting words in your mouth, you can let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say then if I was you over the next few days, I would be thinking in terms of numbers, not dollars, people. So like, I would love to have 5 parties that had 8 or more people at them. Like, how am I going to get good enough at this that I have a month in the future that I have 5 events with 8 people each? Okay, I'm going to have to do smaller events at first and be okay with that till I nail this hostess coaching, right? Because there are some reps who money will never matter. I know a really great leader. We went out to Tahoe together for personal development. She literally has stayed with Wildtree the last 10 years. She's been on 10 trips, basically for the trip. She just used the trip tracker and she just tracks. And for her, this is like fun. It's bonus money. But if someone said to her, like, you have to make $1,000 a month, like, I don't think she'd even get up in the morning to like make an invite. That would never motivate her. But her husband said to her last year, you got to do something more than just this trip. Like, you've been doing this 10 years. You're at the same title. Like, don't you want to do something bigger? And she's like, what if I can make $24,000 and remodel the kitchen? And they just finished it last month. So I think like you've got to figure out, and Jenny, I don't even know with you because you just love Wildtree so much. Like, I just want to say Jenny wants to buy every product in the catalog, like times 5. Like, let's be real. She already has every product. So like for you, maybe we need to have further conversations. If you want to message me, any of you are welcome. Sarah, you're welcome to do that. Sarah, I know, is impact. Sarah wants to change the Beaver Dam, Dodge County community. She's totally, and the money for her has been a struggle so far. I don't know, Sarah, if you can still hear me, but Sarah has a hard time thinking past, and Vicki and Jenny, you guys got to hear this at spring kickoff, past just bare means living, as far as we're paying our, we live in a modest home, we're comfortable. And that for Sarah, then like that dream big, like, whoa, I could make $50,000 on top of my education salary to buy a different home or live in a different school or whatever it would be, lives her daughter. So I would just challenge each of you to, can you hear me, Sarah? I see the phone lighting up.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Is that accurate?
Yep. Yeah, the extra money has definitely been nice, but I don't have that specific dollar amount that would be meaningful. I mean, everything extra has just been nice. But yeah, I need goals. I need bigger. I do, because I don't really have anything specific.
Awesome. Okay. So number one thing I want you to write down from tonight's call, and anybody that listens to the recording, Number one, letter A, because there's 3 parts to number 1. You gotta have a hard goal if you're gonna do this, because otherwise it's just not gonna happen. Now, I'm not gonna say some don't get lucky. Again, there's interjections here, right? Some people just share the business with the right people and they take off and boom, it just happens, right? But long term, 6 months later, a year later, 3 years later, that person gets tired, or their dad is struggling with cancer and they become a caretaker, or whatever happens in our lives, and they fall off, and then that leader no longer can sustain because they never learned the true business side of it, right? Does that make sense? Does the picture I'm trying to paint make sense? We all are going to have a different makeup of our team. And I'm going to warn you now, that's the hardest part about this business. Don't you ever think that I didn't come on board and think, well, my upline had it easy, because I came on board and she promoted with me when I promoted the team leader. And that could have been like dismal end of my Wildtree career if I let it, or it just fuels me every day to be like, that's okay. Like, obviously the Lord thought she needed that supplemental income, and my organization provides that for her. And she continues to obviously hit her leader numbers, because you guys know the drill. If she doesn't, eventually she wouldn't sustain her leadership, and then she would not earn income off of my organization. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And there are points in my organization, like you guys, if you promote a team leader, there's no income for her anymore at this point, because she's stuck at team leader. She doesn't want to go any further. And if you want to continue to make income like down levels, I have to continue to grow bigger. And that's my favorite part about Wildtree, that the only way you can earn, I guess we'll call it that residual income, that really far down income, is by me still working. So in Nicole's case, she's completely comfortable with just like being a team leader, earning the income she does, etc. She has no goals of going up further to earn deeper. Does that make sense? I just wanted to share that too, because sometimes people ask about my upline. Her name is Nicole, very nice woman, but there have been those thoughts. So anyway, A is you got to have something that pushes you. I know we're on these calls. You're probably like, Kelly, you said that last time. Write it down, okay? B, 4 to 6 is the magic range. If you can do 8 events of any kind, and that could be a team meeting and a launch party in there, you will be a leader in no time. 8 is the magic number. I just did my mileage. I finally went back through and made sure one more time I'm all set to go for 2016 taxes. And maybe I should do it each month as I go. I don't. But I went back through and I looked at commission checks and just the number of parties, like the number of times I left the house. And it's just like obvious. Leave the house, make more money. That's just our industry. It's food. People want to taste it. So can you do Facebook parties? Absolutely. Do them in the beginning for anybody that won't host a live party for you. And then let me know if you need help making sure that we're making enough money on them and that we're booking and etc. But number 2, the magic number 4 to 6, do 8. That's even better. If you cannot and you think that's totally crazy, that's okay. Some of you are working full time. I know that. Do the best you can. When you book 4 to 6, you might only hold 2 to 4. Sometimes things just happen, right? Cancellation sickness. I know a bunch of you on the call have had snowstorms in the last couple weeks. We've had a lot of ice. Gosh, a couple weeks ago, everybody was canceling because of ice. We've had power outages. Ask Katrina. Okay, let's fix that. We have had sickness in the family, chicken pox, you name it. Everything can happen, and your parties can be reduced. So normally I would tell you if you book 6, you're going to hold 4 or 5. You're almost always going to have a cancellation. And that's why I have to tell you 8's the best number, because you'll likely hold 6. Carissa, if you've ever had the pleasure of hearing Carissa speak, she spoke at Spring Kickoff. She has super ridiculously high sales. Last year, she was the highest in the whole company. She does 8 and she books 10 and pretty much holds 8 across the board. 2 always just postpone or cancel. And they're not bad people. I'm not talking bad about them. It's just sometimes things happen. So that's B. And then C is if you need to talk through this, like if you need to say, Kayla, my dollar amount that I have to make leadership worth it to me is $1,500 a month. Then I can put my 30% away for taxes. I'm at least netting the $1,000 or more for my family's finances. That makes it worth it. Or Vicky says to me, I want to, I don't know. I don't even know, Vicky. Like, I want to put my kids in this private school, and I know tuition is $1,400 for each of them for a year. Like, I would love it if I could pay that in a month. Like, how cool would that be? Like, whatever it's going to be, right? We all are going to have something different. But if you can't figure that out, if you need to talk through it with someone, I'm really good at that. I love vision, because if I didn't have it all these years, I don't think I would have made it, for sure. I always say this. Picture yourself. I know Jacqueline desperately wants a family, so this will be a good example for you. When you finally get that family and you are home together on a Sunday afternoon and it's sunny and you've got the little baby pool set up, Vicky, for you, a little bigger pool at this point, but get the gist, right? It's beautiful out. Jenny, you're having margaritas by your pool. Okay, you have a full-size pool. Anyway, we're all sitting out there, and now it's time to go to your party. If your vision is not strong enough to get in the car on a 1 o'clock time frame on a sunny Sunday afternoon, you just won't do it. Or you'll go and you'll do it half butt. But when your vision is good, you'll get in the car, you'll kiss your family goodbye, and you're going to do it for them or for yourself or for whatever needs to happen. And those 3 hours are going to fly by, not 4 or 5, Jenny. Sorry about tonight's party. It sometimes happens, so way to recover. Good girl. But it's going to fly by, and you're going to come home and you're going to feel so empowered in that moment that you did it. Okay. So just write that by C2. If you need help figuring it out, great. And if you don't, it's got to be that sunny Sunday afternoon. It's going to push you out and make you go to the party. Okay. Okay. Number 2 thing you need to know is it's only 2 bonus qualified people on your team that help you hit team leader numbers. Everybody's got that, right? Yes. Okay. I see a head shaking. Thank you. So with 2 people, you can do it. So if you don't have 2 people on your team now, you have to get 2 people on your team rather fast. But I would use the attitude in the beginning that for every 2 I add, I'm going to have to replace them pretty much the next month. That's not true. But in our industry, 30% are coming in, 30% are staying the long haul, 30% are walking right now. And again, not bad people. It's just that sometimes they thought they wanted a part-time job, but they really didn't want a part-time job. They wanted a free way to make some quick cash. Or sometimes they sign and literally like all hell breaks loose in their life, right? So 30% coming in, 30% staying, 30% going. So if you have no one, you got to get 2. If you've got a couple, awesome. You should still get 2. And you should always be thinking in 2s. Why? Because 2s will mean you at least get 1. And 1 a month is going to make you steady. You'll be great. You'll do wonderful. I looked at our numbers. So last year I recruited 27 or 28, I think, personal people. And that's because I quit my job, obviously. Like I would think I would have recruited almost 40 if I would have been recruiting the same way I did starting July 1st. But I just quit my job. I was home June 1st. And honestly, I had never done those kind of numbers. So most team leaders in the company do on average 1 to 2 or less even. You can make it, but just make sure you're adding enough to keep momentum going. A secret to our business, number 3 on your piece of paper, is it's easier to keep momentum going than it is to build new momentum. So if you're booking parties and you're adding teammates, you will naturally just grow a strong customer base. You will naturally grow a strong team, and you setting the example, this will be very easy. $3,500 sounds scary, but of the leaders that I've promoted in our organization, hardly any of them ever miss numbers. And you get grace as a leader. So point number 4 on your sheet, you can miss your leader numbers once you promote every other month. I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's not smart for your finances because you don't get paid as a leader if you miss, but you don't lose your leadership. So once you get there, you can technically miss every other month and stay a leader. Okay. Sarah, do you have a question?
Yes, we're gonna head home here, so we're just packing up to leave. If I can I just PM you, or can you about the last, if there's anything here after number 3?
There's gonna be a number 5. I'll PM you when I hang up.
Okay, thank you so much. Good luck,
happy
everybody.
Birthday.
Thank you.
So
bye,
friend. So number 4 is just simply that if it sounds really scary, you got to commit to the next 2 months and do it. And then after that, we can work 1 month at a time and we strategize. So when Sarah called me this month and said, hey, is there any reason that I'd have to put this big party I have to put in this month? I said, does your family need the 32% right now? Because she was making 32% last month. And she said, no, you could hear her. It's bonus money. She said it wouldn't be any different if I put it in March 1st. So she chose to put it in March 1st to be smart with her numbers. We will have that flexibility as you grow your business. And I will work very closely with all of you. Number 5, I am at your service. My Growing with Wildtree team gets my first priority, especially when it comes to month end. All my leaders know this. We had a great heart-to-heart earlier this week about where my priorities are right now. And it's definitely, for our entire organization's sake, important to me that we set an example that Wildtree can truly be a solution to many families financial struggles and or just women needing empowerment, a social circle, something for them as a stay-at-home mom, whatever it is. So number 5, I am here to help you. So by Sunday, and I understand I asked for 2 times in a very close amount of time here from you guys. I want you to stew on this. Message me with any questions. I'm going to get cut off here any minute, so I'm talking really fast. But the main thing I need you to be thinking about is, do I want to commit and try to go for this for March and April? It's okay if you don't. Catherine messaged me earlier today. You guys saw off the bat, Danny thought about it and it's not for her. And I told them the same thing. I love them. They can still work on it one-on-one. If the Lord wants them to hit leader numbers, they're going to hit leader numbers anyway. That's the greatest part about it if they keep doing their job. But in this particular group, to protect the integrity of what we're pushing for, because the calls after this are going to get really specific on like, okay, Vicki, how was your week? Who did you talk to? Who did you share the opportunity with? And how are your parties going? Kind of thing for each one of you to give you a chance to get to speak. So after this, hopefully it'll be not me anymore, because this is boring to watch on playback. I think I wouldn't even watch it probably if it was my upline. Don't tell her. So anyway, that would be my advice to you, is like, you need to sit. Do all the numbers make sense? Anybody have a quick question for me before I do get cut off? Okay, I'll upload it. I'll share the recording tomorrow. And then if you have questions, you can comment too. Again, nobody but our private group can see this. So it's just those of you that are in the Growing with Wildtree group. Was that helpful for you to just know the reality? Okay. I just want to make sure I paint a true picture. You all are capable, and every single one of you, if you want it, can be a leader. But I won't say anymore are going to be a leader, because it's up to you. I want it badly for every person, because I know in my heart, if I wouldn't have became a leader when I did, and mine was more accidental, it was not really intentional. I just loved Wildtree and wanted everyone to join my team. So that was where I always just focused on recruiting. And if I could give you any one tip after tonight, it's simply just share the opportunity. You're never losing a party by giving it to a hostess. Don't recruit for discount though. That's my other tip. I've had a little about that recently, and I remember now why I hardly mentioned that you can do that. It's okay to do it for the discount, especially if it's your best friend or someone. Like, that's great, because a lot of times they'll put in $350 for leader numbers just by coincidence. Like, they'll order a bunch of workshop bundles or whatever, and it does help your team volume. But my really bottom of my heart advice is, don't recruit for discount. Recruit builders, even part-timers that just want to do one party a month. But don't recruit for the 20% off. It's exhausting, mainly for me, because I'm going to do your training for you. But I have a bunch of them recently that have come on board, like fall / even like this last month. And I'm still shaking my head. Like, I told them, like, there's a minimum. If, like, I don't know. But sometimes I think they say discount and they want to do more too. So I know that, right? Keep an open mind. Never not let someone, if they want to join, they're joining. If that's awesome. Great. Let's get them signed up. But know that my words and my leader numbers, I think, have always come from a place of like, this could change your life. Like, in little ways, like $300 a month. Well, I don't even think that's little. I don't know about you guys, but $300 to me for doing 1 or 2 parties and having fun doing it and getting free products in the meantime, free prizes from me, etc. Like, I think that's pretty cool. But I paint it that way for them. And then now, of course, like, I want our team and our organization and the people you share the opportunity with to really see